And I get down on one knee, and then like I can't get the ring out of my pocket.
You said, without Rio, I never would have woken up. I never would have wanted to change. Probably wouldn't have the family I do now.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because I'm a firm believer of everything happens for a reason. If that didn't happen in Rio, it wouldn't have probably gotten me and Kayla closer together. And then we probably would have never got married. We would have never had kids. Like, my mental state is just, it's because of her. Because she stuck by me. I'm like, still, sometimes I lay in bed, I'm like, look over, I'm like, how the hell are you still here? Like, any person in their right mind, we were only dating for a couple months, and she went through the ringer.
She said one of the moments with you where she realized the relationship was different was when you guys were together and you were talking about family and the desire to be a great dad.
That was our very first like kind of conversation we had. It was 8 hours long. And I mean, I could say this now because back then it was like, I mean, I was like with a Playboy centerfold. I was like, man, I'm gonna get lucky. Like, that's what I was like thinking. But
and she said you started messaging her like a couple months out of you going to LA on Instagram.
Yeah,
and
on Instagram.
You're gonna be there in 3 weeks, 2 weeks, a week, 3 days.
I was very persistent. Because I was like, I'm gonna get lucky. I'm gonna like this is awesome. But we didn't even hook up. We kissed, but we talked for 8 hours straight. And it was a real deep conversation. Like, I was like, I really want a family of my own. Like, and like my biggest fear in life is not being a good father. That is still today my biggest fear.
Why?
Because I don't want that. And especially now of having children of my own, that's my biggest fear, is not being a good father. Not being able to be there for my family. And we had this long talk, and after that conversation, it was actually a genius on my part. I had this black Breitling watch that was covered in black diamonds, very expensive, and I left it at her place. And so the next day I was like, hey, I need to get I left my watch there because I did it on purpose, so I could see her again. She held on to it, saw her again, and we started dating and everything.
So how did you propose?
So I did a little research before this. I found out like what her favorite ring is. And I was like, oh, got it. I just want to make it bigger so everyone knows that she's taken. And so we take this helicopter ride, and we went down the coast and up Malibu, and then we landed on top of a mountain. I made sure on top of the mountain there was a picnic table that had roses, champagne, everything. I had practiced like this whole speech, everything, nailing it. Like, towards the end, right the day before, I was like, I have this speech down. Like, I know exactly what I want to say. It's going to be perfect. She sees these roses and everything. She's like, what is this? And I was like, oh, they just set this up for us, you know, the helicopter place. I thought it'd be nice just to look out, have perfect view. So she goes over by the edge, looks over, and like the mountains, the sun was setting, beautiful. And I get down on one knee, and then like I can't get the ring out of my pocket. I cannot. It's like I'm like gonna rip my jacket because I'm like this. And then she turns, she's like, what are you doing? She starts like she starts crying and like laughing at the same time. And like I pull it out and I show her, and I was like, all that could come out of my mouth was like, I love you so much. Will you marry me? That's it. I totally ruined my entire speech, everything. And she was like crying, like laughing, but she didn't say yes yet. I'm like, is that a yes? And she's like, yes, of course. And so we get in this limo and we go to Nobu. And we had our private like dining section, and her family was there. They're like, surprise! And she just busted out crying even more. I was like, yes, I did it, because it's so hard to surprise her.